Worrying has never solved the problem but might be adding one because it weakens your immune system and generally drains your vital energy. It's also known that stress and worries make people age more quickly. Worrying obviously is no good, so stop worrying. Does that work? Most probably not, because the part of your brain that makes logical commands doesn't really control your emotions. But in the meditation trance state, you can reprogram your emotions and change how you feel. So let's begin. For anyone listening to me, you can stand, sit, or lie down. You can close your eyes or let them drift without focus, or watch me on the screen and do the relaxing exercises with me. You can feel your body being supported by your bed, couch, or the floor, or anything carrying your weight. Be content with a gentle smile. You are happy the day was over. You could find some rest and consolation in your bed, comfortable and comforting. Now take a deep breath, stretch upward. Run your hands up and down, left to right, as if you could touch the molecules of air slowly. Just do it a few times to slow down. You can run your fingers on your arms, and do it a few times. You can feel your arms. Then hold your shoulders. Give yourself a hug. Inhale, then exhale when holding your back straight. Just do it a few times. Then run your fingers slowly from the middle of your chin upwards, slowly, carefully, with immense love, as if you were touching something extremely precious. Your fingers glide towards your earlobe. Your smile is getting more natural and bigger. You linger your fingers a bit on your earlobe, rub it slowly. You could hear the sound of your fingers against your ear. Then your fingers continue the journey upward. When your hand reaches your temple, your palm touches your forehead, and run your hands through your hair, taking notice of your breathing. Now you run both hands in your hair, gently massage the top of your head, slowly, lovingly. You are fully relaxed, can still hear my voice. Let me share a story with you. Once upon a time, in an ancient Oriental palace, lying in a luxury bed at night, was this child emperor, around 7 or 8 years old, waiting for his beautiful wife to put him to bed. She is a few years older than him and a captured princess from another kingdom. Since the young emperor's father died, the queen mother was ruling the kingdom in the young emperor's place. She married her son to this captured princess for her to serve him, but would never make her queen because another child princess was already the first wife, the future queen when the child emperor grows up. Usually, this older wife would put him into his pyjama and tell him a story to put him to bed. This night, he was waiting and waiting. She didn't come. So the child emperor summoned his servant and asked him why his wife didn't come to tell him a bedtime story. The servant came, so did the queen mother. The child emperor asked his mother about his wife. The queen mother said to him, "You will no longer hear any criminal stories from that witch. I have put her in prison." Unable to understand, the child emperor cried and pleaded, but his mother refused to set his wife free and return her to him. So what do you think was the story the young wife told the emperor the previous night? Here it goes. It's a well-known story from the ancient book called the Liezi. It's also about an emperor at night who was tossing and turning in bed, worried about losing control over his wealth and kingdom. because he would never want to suffer in hard labor and poverty as his slaves did. He saw how hard they worked and were beaten by the slave drivers in the day and how bad their living conditions were. He really enjoyed his privilege when he watched them sweating under the harsh summer heat while sitting in the shade he himself, or smirked when he saw them toiling in the winter cold when he himself enjoyed a warm fire. This night he decided to take a stroll and wandered to the quarter of his palace where the slaves slept. He saw them sleeping so soundly, some even had a smile on their face. Unable to understand his own misery and worries, at night he woke up one and asked him, "Why are you so happy sleeping? You are just a slave and your life is such a misery." The slave said, "Well, dear emperor, it's normal that I fell asleep so easily because I worked so hard in the day and I was so tired. I smiled when I sleep because I was dreaming of the things you can eat, the beautiful clothes you can wear, just in general the beautiful life you have, but I can only dream of." The emperor laughed after telling the slave, "Well, maybe life is fair then. You are happy and free of worries when you sleep at night and suffer in the day. Well, I'm worried and miserable at night. Well, I had an easy day. Life is just time, so both of us had the same life after all." This was the ancient story about time and life's emptiness. But the Queen Mother had seen the story as a story about rebellion against the ruler's privileges. The young emperor had lived all his childhood falling asleep repeating the last story his wife told him before being jailed by the Queen Mother. He seemed every night missing his wife and dreamed every night of growing up, strong and smart, dreaming of setting his wife free and make her his queen, and set free all the slaves and make everyone's life better in his kingdom. A few years later, his dream came true. The child grew up, freed his wife, made her his queen, and went out to be the wisest emperor in that ancient empire. Fair and benevolent, everyone worked happily in his kingdom, so he ruled the most prosperous country with the happiest people in overall history. The child emperor never worried about losing his comfort and privilege. He dreamed of freedom for the oppressed, for the love he had for another human being. So if you believe you're an emperor, then please don't be a worried emperor or empress, worried about losing comfort, privilege, a high position, whatever it may be. Be one that dreams of freedom for someone else, a greater cause. Or if you believe you are much like a slave, then there is no reason to worry at all over the things you cannot control. Sleep soundly and dream free, and don't limit your dreams at night. It's yours, and remember, you are totally free in your dreams.